Well, I wanted to explore history. I wanted to explore medieval times. And immediately right after that, I wanted to compare that to how people live today and what they think and what they strive for. So basically, to compare and contrast uh, uh, people today and people in the past. Well, it's the relationship of society to the individual and especially to women when it comes to motherhood. It's society really wants to impose its will on the individual and on the family in how and when they have children and how many children they have. And different societies do it in different ways and they have different goals, but they always sort of try to impose their will on the individual and the family. So that was one of the to answer your question, one of the taboos, one of the bigger questions that I was interested in exploring when working on the film, and a lot of it. Then once I start writing, a lot of it is research and talking to people, um, taking some of the stories, the real life stories, and working them into the texture of the film. So several of the beats in the film, some of the important beats are something that has really happened to people, and I've just worked them in. um, Even some bits of dialogue, friends who have been trying to get pregnant forever and have had various degrees of success and tragedy in their own eyes in trying to do that. So even their words, some of their words ended up in the film. Um, so yeah, it was about those relationships, and like ultimately, it's not really so much to me about motherhood. It's about how we relate to motherhood, how we relate to each other, how we relate to other units in society, to the family, to society at large. So it's really about love and loyalty, about as much as it is about motherhood. The three stories are sort of different in the storytelling genre, if you wish, or technique. And the first one is very much like a fable and a story made up of archetypes. And even though I did not base it on anything specific that I read or heard, I'm sure somebody is going to find those relationships that they exist in some folk tales somewhere. And then the second one was more naturalistic, and then the third one is um, is realistic, but also slightly different. I don't know how to define it, but all three are different genre, but dealing with similar subjects. And the three, as in a triptych, where the middle one is the biggest and the other two are smaller, like the windows. They are the wings. They are they contrast and complement each other in many ways, including some just funny details that we thought would be fun to thread through the three stories. And some of them are just like big thematic aspects, like how similar or how different are people in different circumstances, or in different centuries. Well, I mean, there's no bad guys in this film, yet tragic things happen, and sometimes that's the way it is in life. And I find it more challenging to translate that into a narrative art form, because it's always easy when you have a villain, then things sort of find their focus very quickly. And villains are fun to create and fun to perform for actors. It's more difficult to be more nuanced about it, but then that's the challenge and that's the fun, and that's why you would want to do it. So yeah, I mean, everybody in this film is in a way good guys, but that doesn't guarantee that things are going to good, turn out well. Um, and yeah, I mean, Branko and Rodna, they're like the big parts in the film. It was interesting to create them that way, or then to give them to give aspects to their personalities which some people really dislike, um, but that doesn't necessarily make them into villains. So it was doing that on paper and doing that then in rehearsals. I always I go through a long rehearsal period with the actors, and then we shape the characters together, and then you finally write your final draft when you're editing the film in the editing room. So that was it was trying to do all of that with the characters, and at the same time trying to do things with the structure of the film, which is sort of the counterpoint to the characters, where um, we have this historical part and then we have a contemporary part that goes to a place where you think it ends, and then there's a story that begins before the other one ended but ends after that one ended. So there's a little overlap while trying to keep everything sort of accessible and simple at the same time.